Mr. Roy Jenkins was the man with the multi-million secrets. Outside in Downing Street, they waited. How would the budget affect the man in the street? Press photographers angled for better positions. At least one was after an unusual shot of the man who, in the course of the next few hours, was to put forward his plan to get Britain out of the red. Still, the door of number 11 remained closed. At last, the Chancellor of the Exchequer and his wife came out. We'd been warned it was going to be a tough budget, but how tough? As the Chancellor and his wife posed, without dispatch box, for the photographers, this question was only minutes away from being answered. Mr. Jenkins had refused to hold up the budget box for the cameramen, a traditional picture. It could be an omen. The papers in that battered box held the answers. For weeks, the taxpayers of the nation had been bombarded with rumours, good and bad, about the budget. Fleet Street was poised to let them in on Mr. Jenkins' schemes. Inside the House of Commons, the Chancellor was laying bare his financial plans. In Fleet Street, the wires were humming with one of the year's biggest stories. The newsroom of the Press Association sifted and sorted the incoming budget flashes from its parliamentary reporters. Budget news was coming in thick and fast. It was going out over the teleprinter wires just as rapidly. In hotels and offices all over the country, the anxious snatched at every scrap of information. In Piccadilly Circus, the newscaster spelled out its messages. This was good news for some. The presses of the evening papers were feeding the cold, hard facts of a tough budget to the millions who were to make it work. It wasn't only the man in the street who would have to fork out his cash. Hefty increases in selective employment tax and investment levies would carve huge sums from companies. For the rest of us, increased purchase tax had put up the price of new cars. Road fund licenses were up to £25. And sitting in a traffic jam was dearer too, by 4p a gallon. As expected, the price of motoring had rocketed. In the shops, too, prices were on the way up. Luxury goods had new purchase tax tags planted on them. If you don't buy, that's good. If you do buy, that's also good. Mr. Jenkins plans to pull in an additional £775 million this year. Next year, it'll be 923 million. Happily, income tax has been left alone. But looking smart will cost us more. So, too, will a packet of cigarettes and an ounce of tobacco, up by 2p and 4p. Toilet articles and confectionery are dearer. Scotch and gin are 2 and 6p a bottle more. Wine about a shilling. Some manage to beat the bottle budget. Beer's unaffected. So let's drink to the success of a group of hard